Welcome to the Blessed to Teach Show. This is your host, Rick, here on Friday, January 4th. And boy, some amazing things being reported. Not sure how much we can verify of all this, but we're going to talk about it. That's a Marine plan to potentially assassinate Trump. We also have reports of the military tribunals already starting. Again, those are things I don't think I can really actually verify, but I wanted to actually report on what some people are showing. So I'm back at the home studio. You can tell I'm so happy. Actually, tomorrow I get the big upgrade to the higher internet speed, so I'm excited about that. So we have a lot of people coming on right now. We got Tammy and Abby and Ron, and we got people from Arizona and Texas and San Antonio and Australia, Ohio, Nebraska. Thank you for coming all the way from Australia. We got Faze and moderator on, Lou the moderator on. We got New Jersey, Alabama. Thank you guys. Utah. Another person from San Antonio, Phoenix, Kentucky. Thank you guys. Here we go. Let's get rolling here. Was there really a Marine plan to assassinate Trump? Crazy stuff. Not verified, but several sources reporting it. So I wanted to make sure that we at least addressed it. Also, there's reports of military tribunal started. I don't think I can verify that either, but I want to dig into that a little bit. Let's look at this. So you can see that there's still been no post since the 22nd. Stuck on right where the government stuck on the shutdown. Q's not posting while he's talking about the hypocrites of Obama and Chuck flip-flopping on building the wall for political purposes. So you guys let me know how sound is. Everything looks good on my side. The connection's awesome. So it's so excited to be back home here. Tell you what, let's look at this. This is one article saying gunshot that killed Marine at Southeast DC barracks was not self-inflicted, official says. Saw another article where a Marine was reassigned based on this, and there's not a lot of information about this. But the ones that started going pretty aggressively on areas that I couldn't verify is like, here's this Mark Atkinson saying January 1st, 2018 assassination plot was discovered via Michigan Marine arrested in Russia. The jarhead was one of rogue Marine Special Guard tasked protecting POTUS. Putin made rush call to tell Trump. POTUS rushed into the White House bunker. Special Guard arrested, one guard killed. So now this is kind of interesting. So I went and I started doing more searching, and some people were sending me some things. So I started looking at some of this Russia information, see if anything could come out of Russia. And sure enough, this was there. Now, this was a translation from English to Russia. So it says, again, this is a jaw-dropping new foreign intelligence surveillance, SVR, report circulating in the Kremlin today states that the information obtained under interrogation from accused American spy Paul Whelan, revealing that he was a member of a rogue U.S. Marine criminal organization, was relayed directly from President Putin to President Trump, and upon whose receipt saw Trump ordering all U.S. Marines guarding him at the White House to be immediately removed, and shortly thereafter saw one of these U.S. Marine guards being killed in a gun battle with the U.S. Secret Service agents at his Washington, D.C. barracks, and whose killing of this believed to be Trump assassination comes at the mysterious U.S. Marine organization QAnon revealed that over 70,000 sealed indictments have now been issued for deep state operatives. And in retaliation for this assassination attempt, now sees the equally mysterious Trump-loyal international hacking group, the Dark Overlord, threatening to release the most classified U.S. government documents exposing the real truth behind 11 September 2001 9/11 attacks on the United States. And this was, it says some words or phrases appearing in quotes in this report are English language approximations of Russian words, phrases having no exact counterpart. Now, I didn't see any anons really jumping on this, so I want to be really careful to say that I don't think we can really prove this. And see, so that I want to be really careful. I'm just showing you what some people sent me, and I could not verify this, so I want to really make sure I overemphasize that. Again, this cannot be verified. What we can verify, I guess, is because the Anons usually will be all over this, and I did not see anything coming from the Anons. I did see this, now this Mark Atkinson thing, somebody did reply back to it with an article, And this is the one that talks about Marine reassigned after shooting death at D.C. barracks. And this comes from a mainstream media source of NBC. So something went on here where obviously a Marine was killed. It looks like somebody was reassigned, and there's hush-hush about it all. And again, there's 2 separate reports about this being something to do with Russia, and then that news article that came from Russia. But you can see it was talking about a QAnon, and it could be a setup to make QAnon look bad. So I want to be really careful before we send this out. I think it's questionable. And so we're going to do a lot of other news, including some people claiming that the military tribunals have already started. So I'm going to go through that too. I don't think that is verified either, but it's interesting to go look at to see what people are saying. And so, hey, this episode is, again, by my first sponsor is Virtual Shield. And again, with all this QAnon hysteria hitting the online community and the drama surrounding President Trump and the deep state, the viewers are learning that having a VPN while searching on Q's latest post and other online related activity is a must. Virtual Shield is by far the best choice with a 30-day plan, which a free plan to trial. No other VPN has on the market. Virtual Shield does not keep logs and will never sell your data to a third party. Browsing history is kept completely confidential so that you can relax and share a peace of mind that your internet browsing activities will be kept anonymous. So this winter month, there's a Virtual Shield is offering a 30% of all VPN plans and all premium add-ons, including Protection Plus, residential access, monthly maintenance, phone support, and VIP performance plans as low as $3 a month. And don't forget about IdentiSafe, which allows the customer the ability to block off computer, microphone, and camera access from any unwarranted spies or hackers. For anyone that is paranoid about the government watching and listening to every move they make via computer, IdentiSafe is for them. Again, Virtual Shield VPN, one of the easiest to use in the world, one of the fastest to use in the world, and no log policy protects them from breaches. So there it is. You can get this for a monthly plan for $10.99, every 6-month plan for $8.99. If you pay in advance, you get down to $3.49 a month for a 2-year plan. That's virtualshield.com/blessed, virtualshield.com/blessed. Here's this long thread from Greg Rubini. And this guy has, if I go back to his Twitter, you'll see he's got 21,000 followers, but that doesn't mean much on Twitter because, sometimes people get those the wrong way. So, but he's got that whole thread. Hopefully that comes right back up. There it is. So you can see a 26 post thread on Twitter saying military tribunal started yesterday, January 2nd, 2019. Bold statement with no backup. Okay, so I want to make sure you know that. But it says they are being held in secret. Therefore, no fake MSM reporter will be allowed in the rooms. No Fox News reporter allowed either. Doesn't tell us, again, how he knows this. Quite probably, some of the military tribunals are held in Gitmo, some others in secret locations. Again, zero sourcing. According to Q, both General Mattis and General Kelly are in charge of the proceedings. So now this is obviously potential based upon Q's drop 2637, which says Rogers' departure, intel. Sessions' departure, law. Kelly departure, warfare military. Mattis' departure, warfare military. Notice a pattern? So almost everybody's come back to saying, hey, this is probably talking about these 4 patriots are going to be part of the military tribunals with Kelly and Mattis in charge of the military part of it, right? But you can use citizens according to the executive order, so that would mean that Rogers and Sessions could actually be participating in that, right? 6, he says, as said above, fake MSM will be kept out of it, so don't expect any reporting from the military tribunals coming from the likes of CNN, YouTube, WAPO, etc. Again, no evidence of this and no Anons confirming this at all. But probably we patriots will be informed from time to time by other sources with plausible deniability. And this flies in the face. I want to back up here a second. This flies in the face of my theory and belief that they're not going to really arrest the big names until they can't walk down the street, and that would be after movie 3. We're still in the FISAgate movie. A little bit in the Panic in DC movie, right? But we're not into the Guardians of the Pedophile movie, so I don't believe this report. Just wanted to make sure you guys knew that. So we have to keep our ears and eyes ready. But by the way, Abel Danger and some of his sources is saying the same thing. So it's not just one source, but Abel Danger somebody sent me a video on that, and I again, being a full-time job, traveling from New York, I don't have time to look at all these videos, but I did sample through some of that, and sure enough, they were saying the same thing. So there's a couple people did Abel Danger may have been Greg Rubini's source, so it could have been the same thing like the fake dossier, right? So there's not a lot of corroboration at all about this. We have to always check the validity of information using logical thinking and cross-referencing. And then he doesn't give us any logical thinking. He doesn't give us any information or logical or cross-referencing, so it doesn't do us much good. The proceedings of the military trials are being filmed by military staff, so we shall be able to see most of them at a later date, as chosen by President Trump. Then he shows a connection into what this is true. Obviously the executive order that went into effect on January 1st, where military tribunals are allowed and they can use citizens to help. The military tribunals and enemy combatants on September 5th, 2018, Senator Lindsey Graham and Judge Brett Kavanaugh laid the groundwork for military tribunals and executions. I reviewed that with you guys in details, all the videos there to clearly show that yes, there is military law that's different. Here's some of the discussion there. It says, Graham, post 9/11, we have been at war, and it is called the war on terrorism. You agree with that concept? And Kavanaugh said, I do. Congress passed the authorization for the use of military force, which is still in effect. That was passed on September 14th, 2001. And this is where this whole Patriot Act is going to come back and bite the deep state. 12 says, Graham, let's talk about the law and war. Is there a body of law called the law of armed conflict? And Kavanaugh says, yes, there is such a body, Senator. Graham said American citizens who collaborate with the enemy are considered enemy combatants. They can be, Kavanaugh says. They're often sometimes criminally prosecuted, sometimes treated in the military. And you guys have probably seen this video, right? Let's talk about that. Can be. There is a Supreme Court decision that said that American citizens who collaborated with the Nazi saboteurs were tried by the military. Is that correct? That is correct. I think a couple of them who collaborated with the enemy were executed. Kavanaugh says, yep. So there's a video of it there if you want to go look at that in detail. Remember, these contents of the Kavanaugh confirmation hearing are on record. They have a legal value. The hearing took place September 5th, and now Brett Kavanaugh sits in the Supreme Court. I think a couple of them who collaborated with the enemy were executed. Question, was John McCain of August 25th in reality an execution? Was George Herbert Walker Bush death of November 30th in reality an execution? According to the several sources, according to Roger Stone, H.W. Bush was a mastermind behind the assassination attempt of President Ronald Reagan in 1981. G.H.W. Bush was a vice president at the time. It would have been JFK assassination reloaded. So that's a big accusation coming here, where J.W. Bush being accused of doing what potentially Lyndon B. Johnson did to Kennedy, and that's why they're talking about JFK assassin reloaded. Here it says the wannabe killer's family, Hinckley, had close connections to the Bush family. And he says assassination attempt of the U.S. president is not a lightweight crime. This could have been one of the many death penalty charges against G.H.W. Bush, together with his participation in plotting 9/11 and many other capital crimes. So I really do believe McCain was executed, but G.H.W. Bush was in extremely bad health. So, and again, there's evidence based upon some of Comey's tweets, etc., that he may have died even before the 30th. So to say he was executed, I think we have very little evidence of that. Dave Jonda has some good points, insiders. Now listen to what he says at 30 minutes onwards in this video. And this is interesting. I think this is the X22 report. And I believe at this 30 minutes here, he does make some good points. And he does think that G.H.W. Bush has
Yeah,
flipped.
it just makes me wonder, because this supposedly appeared in the Arkansas Supreme Court for the Eastern District of Arkansas. And again, we see all of that criminal investigation going on down in Arkansas. Well, you know what?
The other thing, Sean, about the funeral is you mentioned about George Bush, W. Bush, bringing his head down almost in shame.
Yeah.
I think that the reason why he did that, because I think at one point Laura, right after she showed Jeb, said, "Is this real?" or something like that to him, and he was yup. And the word I have heard is that several months ago, George W. Bush had been in contact with Trump, but essentially flipped, and essentially let President Trump know that he couldn't go on with the way business was being done.
Well, yeah, and so you can see here. So this is Dave Jonda. So he does. There's at least he's got a source that's saying that GHW Jr. basically has flipped, which would be good news for us, right? And he says the word is that several months ago, George W. Bush had been in contact with President Trump and essentially flipped. Imagine the consequences of G.W. Bush flipping and all the devastating information he may have given to the Trump team concerning several deep state actors, Dick Cheney, Rumsfeld, the Clintons, senators, and congressmen, about Jeb Bush and his own father, G.H.W. Bush. Was the G.W. Bush flipping related to the strange events at the G.H.W. funeral, the envelopes? So in a video, Dave Jonda talks about the envelopes affair of the G.H.W. Bush funeral of December 5th. Mr. Jonda says that his sources told him the day before, December 4th, to watch the funeral. Interesting. So that's at 15 minutes. I think it's a different video, full different video, I believe. It says, no, I've read that some have taken aim at the photo at number 1 that really made me have a good laugh. It's a stock photo or illustration purposes. Relax and have a good beer. Do you really think that it could be the military trials room with a camera and even be allowed by the generals to take pictures during the trials and post them on Twitter? Oh my, that's really stupid and low IQ to even ponder. And so these are just him talking about this thread that we just read. But the whole point is he's claiming, like Abel Danger, that there's these military tribunals actually started. I don't think we have nearly enough evidence to make that point. But I wanted to show you some of the sourcing that I could find that would that had very little corroboration and very little anon consolidation. And that's what I usually like to talk about. That's why I enjoy a lot of times going to vote.co, where there's a lot of people voting, and some of the stuff that's just not corroborated falls down, and the best stuff comes up to the top. And that's why I go there a lot. So here's an example. So this is funny. You say Schumer, Trump told us he'd keep the government closed for months or even years. Trump proving no need for big government. And it's interesting, if you go read this article and go hear the press conference of what Nancy and Chuck were talking about, they think they're making Trump look bad. Instead, he's consolidating his base like never before. And if Hank Kuhneman's right, the prophet we listened to a couple days ago, it's actually going to end up being a unifying event where a bunch of these Democrats break off of the control. Just think of the control that they've had with the Alwan brothers and all the emails. They had complete control over almost everybody in the House and the Senate. The Democrats said that's why they, in my opinion, that's why they all vote in a block. Now I think all these new freshman people, even though that some of them are a little bit radical, which we'll see here in a second, they are not the type of people that are going to be told what to do, and they're not blackmailed yet, right? So I think this could be a really amazing time, and as we look into this, and you can go dig into some of these in more detail if you'd like. You guys probably heard this. I debate whether to even play this because it's got a really bad word on it, so I'm just going to give you a censorship warning. I think it's worth listening to. But she uses this word right here, mother effer, and I think I'm going to play it. So just warning, just to kind of see her, because it's kind of interesting to read about it, but actually hear her say it is kind of interesting. But she's, I think, the first Muslim female House of Representative. She's obviously hates Trump, and here's what she says about him.
People love you, and you win. And when your son looks at you and says, Mama, look, you won, bullies don't win. And I said, baby, they don't, because we're going to go in there, we're going to impeach the motherfucker.
So Trump derangement syndrome continues, obviously. So this girl, she's obviously real excited, and just actually to have that Trump derangement syndrome. But these are also the people that are not going to listen to Nancy Pelosi potentially. And I do think that there is a chance that whole break off and eventually the Democrats coming around to give Trump the wall victory is going to be an interesting event that may take months, right? This person says, this anon says, Trump thrives on chaos. Dems and deep state have no idea he's playing them. The very day Pelosi and the progressive posse take over the House, Trump has been to it that the government is shut down. They think it is political leverage against him. You guys, let me know how my sound sounds. I just realized after coming back from New York, one of the settings I probably didn't set. It might be a little loud. I usually take it down to like 45%. I'm going to check that right now. Just 1 second. I think I'm going to just take that down slightly based upon what I've seen in the past. That's a problem with traveling. It is tough. It is tough to try to do this on the road as well. It's not really going red though, so I'm gonna probably just knock it down a little bit though, because it's really high based upon. Nah, it looks fine. Looks fine. So, okay, you guys let me know. 5-5, everybody's telling me. So I'm going to keep on going. The very day Pelosi and the progressive posse take over the House, Trump has seen to it that the government is shut down. They think it's a political leverage against him, but it is actually what he wants. In the meantime, executive orders have become effective, while General Mattis and Kelly simultaneously are freed for other responsibilities. Nothing suspicious about the timing here. All the while, Trump brilliantly baits the most extreme elements of the resistance into exposing themselves. I'm enjoying the show. So that was an interesting perspective. Here's another add-on saying, December jobs number blows out estimate. The estimate was 170K at the high end. It was double what really most economists are thinking. Double. This is a huge job number, especially for December. Just shows that the Lord is blessing the economy of this country despite everything the Fed and everybody's doing to try to slow it down. October, November revised up. Wages increase at best rate in 20 years. You just really cannot see. Chaos in the Trump era, some of the people are talking about. But there's a quite a bit of good news coming out of the job reports. And I just like that Anon's reaction to it. North Carolina, we talked about this before, but the Senate officially overrides Cooper's veto, right? So that was a while ago. I just thought that people were talking about that quite a bit now, and it's just kind of cool, I think, if you go back and look at the Anon saying, look at dudes, this is big stuff when you now have Democratic governors and Republican senators overriding the Congress is overriding what they're doing to make sure that they start getting voter ID laws in there. Republican lawmaker reintroduces buy a brick, build a wall to allow private contributors to fund border wall. So you know that there's movements to try to stop all this private investment into the wall, and now the Republicans are starting to fight back on that, which I think is good news. California and Los Angeles County to remove 1.5 million inactive voters from the voter rolls, settle Judicial Watch federal lawsuit. Just more kudos for what obviously you're seeing out of the Judicial Watch. I mean, Judicial Watch is amazing. I mean, they are just suing in every area that the Justice Department's not acting. They're taking action. So there's obviously a law that you have to clean this up, and Los Angeles and California counties haven't been doing it, but now they force them to, and as a part of the settlement, they're removing 1.5 million inactive voters off the rolls. So too bad we couldn't have done that before the elections, right? Here's Mrs. Claus, and it says, This man works until 2 a.m. and then sleeps only 4 hours. This man works for free. He gives away his salary quarterly. The man works to keep you and me free. His name is President Donald J. Trump. That's our president. Hashtag God bless POTUS. So it's just crazy to see how much this guy works and how the engine, I think God's just given him special health at 70 years old, just moving. If you just look at some of the other 70-year-old politicians, it's just like they don't have near the energy of this, let alone even 40-year-olds or 30-year-olds don't have it. Here's ladies. So people tell me they want to pronounce a Canuck, just like the hockey team, even though there's a Q there. So I'll start saying it that way. Lady Canuck, one of my favorite Twitter persons, who does a great job simulating things from all the 8chan boards and 4chan boards, because I don't have time to go on there. It says 4-year Senate investigation, which concluded Thursday, finds U.S. Marshals Service plagued with corruption. A newly released report has revealed the Justice Department agency was rife with misconduct and abuse of authority, and at high levels. So these 8 years of Obama, man, everything got more corrupt than ever, right? And so here's that 4-year Senate investigation finally came out with that, which I thought was quite interesting. Here's Google now. Lady Canuck telling us Google moved $23 billion to Bermuda in 2017 as part of a tax avoidance schemes in the U.S., the UK, and the EU, labeled a double Irish Dutch sandwich. New filings show. So the double Irish Dutch sandwich was a way to avoid taxes. Google showing their cabal methods at all times. Now this is interesting. Chuck Grassley says, would never have thought this would ever happen, that I would become a constitutional officer of the United States. It's an honor to serve as President Pro Tem of the U.S. Senate for thee. And he's got an Instagram account here. I think I brought that up already. Yeah, right. Here's his Instagram, and he's got a little video here. Let's listen to what he says about this. Now, there's a lot of speculation here, a lot of people that are starting to accuse Pence of potentially being a black hat. I believe he's still a white hat. Most of the Anons still think he's a patriot. But because of the envelope and a lot of other circumstantial things, there's people question it. But one theory here is that he could actually act as the vice president in some cases. So here's Grassley's own words on this.
And at this brand new Congress, I was sworn in to be President Pro Tem of the United States.
It's a little
Senate.
low, but
I look forward to serving the people of Iowa and the nation as President Pro Tem. The President Pro Tem of the Senate basically functions exactly as the Vice President would do if he were presiding over the Senate. But in a recent 60 or 70 years, Vice Presidents have not presided over the Senate, mostly for ceremonial or tie-breaking reasons. Mm-hmm. So, as President Pro Tem, I will fill in when the Vice President can't be in the United States Senate, and quite frankly, that's 99% of the time. Today, Mark.
So I think that's pretty cool. Since we hear about Chuck Grassley, now he is the head in this position where he basically can act as a VP, as the vice president, overseeing the Senate. And that, what's up with that? How could that be part of this whole plan? I would imagine so. Now this is kind of funny. You go back to Canada, and look at the Canadian PM Trudeau and his Christmas message. Actually, listen to the full message. It's like just a little 4-minute message, and it sounds nice and good, right? But obviously, the Canadians have found him out because they had only 700 likes and over 12,000 dislikes. Here's the actual YouTube video. It's only 2-minute. It's a 2-minute video, and you can see 12,000 dislikes. So I might as well put myself on the list there. And mainly because he's talking about Jesus Christ. He's talking about people, they know he's a globalist, and they know that he does not believe what he thinks. He's anti-Christ, he's anti-Christmas, etc., right? So it backfired on him. The fact that they usually turn off CBC News will turn off the comments, and the comments are just vicious. If you come down here, you'll just see him getting ripped up, right? I think the first one has like 200 up likes, says that was so unreal, empty, phony, and without depth. Except tragically, it is the new real. And, in other words, it was pure Trudeau. Ugh, what a colossal phony. So there's no depth because the guy is a moron. So he is not doing well. So the whole globalist leaders are starting to fall. It's a beautiful thing to see. Retired U.S. Army Colonel Joseph Baptist charged bribing Haiti officials, Clinton connections. So this is a January 4th article talking about the Department of Justice put out a press release stating retired U.S. Army Colonel Joseph Baptiste indicted for conspiring to bribe senior government officials of the Republic of Haiti. And you'll see in here, if you go look at this, there's some Clinton Foundation connections. So the whole Haiti swamp is interesting. But so some of these indictments, again, the indictments of the big boys aren't coming out, but indictments of other things are that are related. That's why I think you can say, if people say nothing's happening, aren't looking behind the scenes, actually looking at all the evidence. All they are looking at, Hillary's free. Hillary's free. Let's not become like the Trump derangement syndrome. Every time we see Hillary and Obama free, that we become freaky. Yes, they're going to go down, but that's not the game here. The game is not to put them in jump shoots. The game is to take out the 13 families worldwide, 100-plus-year-old cabal, completely eliminate it and rip it out by the roots worldwide. That is completely different than trying to go have justice with Hillary. And now that's a part of it, and she's a large part of it, but we got to rip off the roots, because if you just shave off all the weeds, the cabal is just going to regrow them. So this is a huge operation, probably an 8-year operation, right? That was a 16-year plan to destroy America. This is the 8-year plan to restore America, in my opinion. We'll see. Here's another one. Trump whistleblower target the deep state Clinton Foundation. And what's the reason I wanted to show you this one? Oh yeah, this was just interesting because he's talking here about the fact that Huber didn't show up, and the reason Huber didn't show up in this guy's opinion. I think this is the same guy we were talking to that X22 was discussing. Let's listen to him for just a second. See if I got
today. What I want to focus on is the deep state and their puppets finally being held accountable on a number of fronts. I know there's this mantra out there that nothing's happening. I understand that. We don't have the people in orange jumpsuits and the handcuffs. Right, that has to happen. To reestablish the rule of law in our country, which has been stripped by the globalists over many decades' time, that needs to happen. But I truly believe it is in the works. And here's why I believe that. Is that wishful thinking? Is that hopium? I don't believe so. Look at what's happened in the past.
And what I want to be a little careful of is I'm not sure if this is his Operation Freedom is his channel. I'm hoping it is, because I heard them talking last night when I was listening to him and X22 talking about how they're demonetized, and then people replay their same stuff and they're making money on their material, right? And a lot of times they put fake dates on things that are really old, trying to make money on the YouTube system, and YouTube's not doing anything about it because they're trying to punish all the truthers anyway. But again, one of the major points that he had later in this video is that these whistleblowers and Huber not showing up, I think that's what he talks about next, but I don't want to steal his material and point him. I just want to point you guys to him. Is that they actually was more powerful not to have Huber there. First of all, probably can't have Huber there because of the ongoing investigation, but also the fact is that not having him there makes it all admissible. So all that stuff was devastating. If you literally listen to it, it was devastating information on the Clinton Foundation. So the fact that Huber showed up may have been a real good thing, I think, is the message there. Here's Donald Trump saying, how do you impeach a president who has won perhaps the greatest election of all time, done nothing wrong, no collusion with Russia, it was the Dems that colluded, had the most successful first 2 years of any president, and is the most popular Republican in party history, 93%. So this whole wall thing is is just made his base and the Republican Party coalesce like never before. That's why Mitt Romney's an idiot. He's just showed himself completely to be cabal, right? So we're cleaning the cabal out, and now Mitt Romney shows up like that. But you got to just be proud of our President Trump. Here's a praying medic saying a thing. He says, "What do you do when you know the depths of evil and corruption that exist in a system are no longer considered an insider?" So then you are no longer considered an insider. So Trump's no longer an insider. So what do you do? So
in my former life, I was an insider as much as anybody else. And I knew what it's like, and I still know what it's like to be an insider. It's not bad. It's not bad. Now I'm being punished for leaving the special club and revealing to you the terrible things that are going on having to do with our country. And it is our corrupt political establishment that is the greatest power behind the efforts at radical globalization and the disenfranchisement of working people. Their financial resources are virtually unlimited. Their political resources are unlimited. Their media resources are unmatched. And most importantly, the depths of their immorality is absolutely unlimited.
Isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? So just a little video. You can go watch the rest of that if you'd like on your own time. But the whole point is here, we have got a president that is just amazing. Just look at the jobs report we just saw earlier, and we can be proud to have this. And just think about the 2-year difference between Hillary and the Supreme Court, and just the attacks on us that we're having right now. Trouble with, just think that if they were encouraged, and the weaponization of all of government and the weaponization of Silicon Valley was encouraged, it would have been amazing. It would have been really amazing. I think the buffering, I'm hoping that buffering was just that video. So the sponsor, another sponsor that we've had that just loves you guys, because you guys have obviously jumped in board to get this collector's item, right? Potential collector's item that is a limited edition coin of the President Trump 2020 Freedom Coin. I think it's the last month I'll be advertising this, but it is like I just love this thing, and it's because not only because it's pure silver and can be an IRA or it can be your 401k, but it also does just a phenomenal job of honoring President Donald J. Trump. On the front, on the back, it talks about exactly what's happening here. Delivering as promised. First major tax reforms in 30 years. Unemployment rate lowest in 18 years. Jobless claims lowest since 1973. Dow Jones highest in history. And you just saw another job report that just is incredible, showing that despite the cabal, I just think the Lord's behind this, man. That's what I believe. You can get this cool coin if you like the gold. It's $1,895. Or you can do the more reasonable thing and buy the silver ones, which are only $35. This is what I did. I've got like 7 of these puppies for Christmas presents and birthday present for my wife. She loved it. She wanted one very badly. If you buy just 3 or more and update the cart to 3 or more and apply a coupon code, putting BLESSED in here. Put BLESSED in the coupon code and you'll get free shipping. Okay. Hey, this is really interesting too. I haven't heard of this guy before. He's Dr. Steve Turley, and Macron on the brink as his top advisor quits, and he does a great analysis. A little 9-minute video that I listened to late last night that actually talks about how much trouble Macron is in, and how the movement across Europe is amazing against globalism and toward nationalism. So it's an exciting time to be alive to watch this happen. And it's not just U.S., this is worldwide movement. I know we had people from Australia and others watching. Cruz and Rooney introduced constitutional amendment to impose term limits. So this is interesting. Just the fact that we have these politicians that come out with their institutions and their foundations, and they end up getting massively wealthy, and so to put some term limits in here, I think is really important, and I'm just glad that people are trying to make it happen. So here's Cruz with his new beard talking about it, and it'd be awesome. You can read in more detail if you want to dig into the details of exactly what it means. But 1 6-year term for the Senate is better, but I think they're going with 2. So there's other details that you can go look at in this article. And I'll put the links again on my show notes, so you have a link of everything I show you. Just get on my email list on blessed2teach.com. The 2 is the number 2, blessed2teach.com. And again, it's up and running. It's being backed up really well, and I can send you each time I do a show. You'll get the link right to that. Also, you guys give me some feedback. There's some people that are not getting notifications. They're frustrated with it. So another idea, I'm not going to do this yet until I get a majority of you saying you want this. I could send a quick email out like 15 minutes before I'm going to go live. I don't know if that will work for you guys, if you think if it's worth that or not. So give me some feedback in the comments below, or in my or on my website, etc., to let me know if you think that would be valuable or not. I think last night's show, hardly any notifications went out. I don't think I had any of the moderators on because of the fact that they didn't get notifications, and I did go later because of again being traveling in the big city the last couple days. Exclusive smash and grab. Schweizer explains how Obama weaponized regulations to enrich his buddies. And I think we all know that, but now that this is coming out in Breitbart and they're actually documenting where and how he made his friends wealthy with regulations and all kinds of ways to obviously using all that. Just sickening to see how all that happened. but hey, I've got some other stuff on here. But go to the Blessed to Teach show if you really want to dig into. I'm sorry, to blessed2teach.com if you want to not only get on my email list, but also if you want to just go directly to the show notes right here. You can see here, go to the show notes. And you can also come here to About and see exactly what times I'm trying to go live. Again, I like to go on Sundays because I like to do the Bible study. So my days off are kind of depending on the news cycle and queue and stuff like that. So like tomorrow I may take off. Those are the type of things I try to take off either Monday or Tuesday each week. But again, I'm really got 7 days a week that sometimes I'll be on, but I always am trying to sneak a day off in there. But there's the times I'm usually trying to go live. Like here, I've started between. I want to start on Fridays between 5:30 and 6:30. I think I started a little bit later than that, but got close to it. But most importantly, you can also see everywhere I'm on SoundCloud, Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio for if you want to listen to me lower bandwidth, like if you're in the car. You can also learn about my wife's business here. Here's the connections to the show notes. I wanted to show you these real quick because these are nice show notes where it'll save you a lot of time if you want to go find things, to links to my sponsors as well. So as you see how it renders right here, so you don't even have to click on them. So once you get the link, a lot of this stuff's right there. You can read and take copies of to retweet on your social media, etc. if you want to. Hey, I'm going to have Amanda Grace, I think, on next week. We're going to finalize the day here shortly. She is, done some amazing things. She has 2 clips here. One of them is really long. I'm going to talk to the first part where she heard from the Lord about joy, G-O-J-O-Y. So let's listen to what she says here.
So let's discuss the things that the Lord gave me in his mercy. He gives it. So praise the Lord for that. First, we're going to get into the second part in a minute, but I have to tell you what happened last night. Last night I was laying on the couch and I had the lights on in the room, the little white lights. And I was looking around and I had joy all over the place this year. I had planted the word joy. And I'm looking at it intently. And I hear in my spirit, joy is an acronym as well. Joy is an acronym. What does it stand for? And then I hear justice of Yahweh. That's what I hear. Justice of Yahweh and then justice of Yeshua. And I thought, justice of Yahweh, justice of the Lord. Well, the joy of the Lord is your strength. The justice of Yahweh, the Lord, frees us, gives us freedom, which gives us joy. The justice of Yahweh, the justice of the Lord, is your strength, because his strength is made perfect in our weakness, and we need justice in our weakness, which is his strength. So it all goes together, and I immediately wrote it down and went, oh my goodness gracious, joy goes so much deeper than just being happy. It has to do with the justice of the Lord coming into our lives in order to set us free, to give us the true joy that we need to go forth in him. And I want you to keep this in mind for 2019, because there was a reason I got this 5 days into the new year. Okay? The justice of Yahweh, the Lord your God, is coming this year. We're going to see a lot of justice this year. So joy is the acronym for that for this year. So keep that in mind, write it down, pray about it. I thought that was so neat, it kind of blew my mind.
All right, guys. Hey, my whole family's home, and it's been a long week, and I haven't spent any time with them. So I am going to wrap it up there. I do apologize for the little bit of abruptness here. But I just do a quick prayer and wrap this up. Say thank you, Lord, for this broadcasting capability, etc. I love you, Lord. Thank you for the listeners. We just pray for the president, pray for this movement, and we say these things in the mighty name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Hey, God bless you guys. Sorry I'm going to have to run here quick, but appreciate you, and I'll talk to you soon.